What is up, gamers? And the brand new crafting event is live. You want to jump on this as soon as possible so you can maximize the value from this CTP crafting and sort of CTP swapping event. Now, as you can see from the screen here, I've already farmed all of the converter activation parts I will need for the entire event. So it is possible within 1 hour to farm everything you need. With 62 runs going and over 1,200 drops, I'm getting on average 20 converter parts per run. And you need 1,150 converter parts if you want to claim every single, if you want to convert and do every single craft that's available to you. So it's very, very easy to do so, but I highly recommend that you only farm dispatch. So I've shown you in dispatch here. This converts really, really generously. It basically converts to 1 energy, converts to 5 parts, 5 of those drops, because I'm getting about 20 for every single run. Now, I'm going to exit out of this one because I don't need to do any more anyways, but we did 61 runs. I got 1,248, and I got a bunch of other stuff too. So really, really nice, really gravy here. Really, really good stuff. Now let's dive into the crafting event so you guys can see what is going on, because people have so many questions about this. It's on the home screen, the crafting event. If you open up the menu as well, you can see that it's highlighted with the event tag next to the emblem collection. Let me just quickly grab my emblem stuff there, and it'll be here where you can dive into it. And again, of course, if for whatever reason you're on another tab, you just have to go to the tab on the far right. I should have kept my camera in the other corner. So this is what the page looks like. And you have no daily maximum on this first chest. This advanced material chest has no daily maximum, so you don't have to feel pressured to do a certain number per day. You can just come in here on the last day and boom, and you're done. But that is not what I am planning to do first. Now, I did mention that to craft everything that you need, which is the tokens to convert in the CTPs, that is going to run you 1,000 for the Brilliant, 100 for the Mighty, and then 50 each for, and then, sorry, 50 for the regular. So what that means is you're going to need 1,150, but that's not including the chest. So if you want to include the chest, you're going to have to farm a little bit more. You're going to have to farm an additional 700, which brings your total up to 1,850. But for the purposes of this video, we're not going to be focusing on the chest. Now, I do think the chest is good. You can press the magnifying glass above me, the gray one, to see what you can produce. These chests are very good. I'll just produce one so you guys can see what it looks like here. 100 CCF in one chest. So these are very, very good drops. Most players should take advantage of this. It is well worth the cost. But I know everyone is really concerned about the CTPs. So I want to break it down for you guys. Again, apologies if you just watched my first video on this and you didn't see any of the follow-ups since then. I originally read the quest incorrectly on the event page. I thought that it was 1 CTP to convert into 1 CTP token. It is 1 Mighty CTP for 1 Mighty CTP token, and it is 1 Brilliant CTP for 1 Brilliant CTP token, but it is 2 normals, not 1. So apologies for that. But yeah, again, there's no daily maximum on this. There's no rush on this. You're just gated by the event. There is another way to farm tokens, by the way, if for whatever reason you refuse to do dispatch. You can technically get them from, as you can see here, you can get them from dimension missions. And I'll just sort of simulate for you guys. I usually do 10 of these runs a day. So I'll do 9 here, and we can see how many I get in 9 runs. Okay, so you get 1 per stage. So again, yeah. It's way worse. It's way worse. So just to recap for you guys, if you, for whatever reason, if you want to only farm dimension missions to get the converter kits, you're going to have to do 1,250 dimension mission runs, because it's 1 converter activation part per dimension mission. 1 per mission. Which means with boost points, you're talking about 8 energy for 1 converter part. Whereas with dispatch, you're getting 5 converter parts per 1 energy. So if you want to literally 5x or 10x the amount of parts that you're getting, just farm dispatch. Now, if you're If you're struggling, you can't farm Dispatch Sector 14, that's totally understandable. Always aim for at least Dispatch Sector 7. You have to farm with energy, guys. This is always the case whenever there's an event. You always have to farm using energy. That has to be checked off. If this is not checked off, you will not get any drops. You will not get any converter activation parts. Please don't do 1,000 runs with this checked off and then, oh my god, the event's broken, something's wrong. The check mark has to be on. You have to be using energy in order for this to work. But yeah, I would say 7-1 is the minimum that you want to aim for. Even brand new accounts with a tier 4 with a little bit of Pierce should be able to crush 7-1 easily. And when I say a little bit of Pierce, I mean the Pierce you get from the free cards that you get as a new player. So genuinely, within a week of playing this game, you should be able to farm 7-1 pretty consistently if you logged in and if you started your account during the time when they were giving away tier 3s, tier 4s, etc. If you can go higher, that's great. I can't speak to the drop rate on lower sectors. I imagine it may be lower, so you may not be getting 4 parts per 1 energy or 20 parts per run on 7-1. But again, the higher you can go, the easier it is for you and the faster you will get it done. And in general, guys, Dispatch is a really good game mode for passive rewards, so you always want to focus on it. However, most questions that people have are going to revolve around which CTPs to sacrifice in order to get selectors. And this is where it's going to be tricky. I'm going to try to give you as comprehensive and a piece of advice as I can, but keep in mind that your mileage may vary, the types of content that you care about versus my advice may vary, and also just the way you approach the game, the way you approach roster building. If you're trying to build a very narrow pyramid or if you're trying to build a very wide pyramid, to have a very, top-heavy roster or a very balanced roster, that can all impact your decisions, whether you play PvE and PvP or you only play PvP or you only play PvE. All of these decisions can make your decision-making change and be different, and it can make the CTPs that you value different and sort of change. So just keeping all of that in mind. But I think a general rule of thumb and some really easy advice that I can give off the top is always start with Transcendence and Patience. These are the worst CTPs in the game for a reason. They're fodder CTPs. You can farm them for free when you get, hidden tickets and boost points. They're basically given away easily because they're not good. They're not supposed to be good. They're not meant to be good. They're fodder for a reason. So those are the ones that I would suggest at any level. Sacrificing the regular, sacrificing the mighty, sacrificing the brilliance in order to work your way up. Because I do see the CTPs as kind of like being in a pyramid where the ones that are at the top are the best for the vast majority of content, and the ones that are at the bottom are, the worst, and then the least valuable. Now, that being said, once we move on from Transcendence and Patience, it does become, again, a bit more account dependent. For me personally, I would put Destruction and Regen at the bottom on the next rung. Like, they're not the absolute worst CTPs, but they're the next up. And the reason for that is they're basically useless unless they're reforged. Unless they're reforged, these are useless CTPs. They don't do anything. They're not going to provide you any value in content. Unfortunately, I still see people using regular regens on Sentry and PvP. It's doing like next to nothing. It's like as good as probably worse than your ISO 8 set for actual bonuses. So that's why I would put these CTPs here in the bottom rung. But you could also put, for example, Authority here if you really hate PvP and you don't like PvP. You could also put Energy here if you're just not a big PvE guy. You're not a big proc kind of guy. You could even put the Egg here. I don't necessarily agree, but that's kind of my opinion. And your mileage may vary. But yeah, I would put Destruction and Regen next. After Destruction and Regen, then I would say, again, it depends on the type of account that you have. But then I would open it up to the Egg. I would open it up to the Energy. And in some rare, and I would open up to the Authority, of course. And then in some rare cases, if you have enough of them already, I would open it up to the Insight. The only CTPs that I wouldn't suggest sacrificing, unless you're very, very confident that you're never going to play PvE or PvP seriously, is Conquest, Liberation, Judgment, Greed, and Rage. Judgment is a little bit of a flex pick. You can drop it out of this list, but for sure, Rage, Liberation, Conquest, and Greed should almost never be sacrificed, unless, again, you're super confident that you're not going to play one of the game modes exclusively, right? You're just never going to play PvE at a high level. You're just going to, sleepwalk through it, or you're never going to take PvP seriously. You're just going to sleepwalk through it. The reason why I say that is just because these CTPs are very, very, very good. Essentially, they're mandatory to compete in any way in PvE and PvP. Rage, Liberation, Greed, Conquest, and then to a lesser extent, 1 or 2 Judgments. So that's basically the breakdown of how I see the value of these CTPs to be sacrificed. Obviously not talking about the veteran, because anyone who has one is not going to sacrifice it. It's a huge, value trophy thing. When it comes to the mighties and the brilliants, I do think there's a little bit more wiggle room. So for example, I would say, if you have a lot of rages, I would say it's fine to sacrifice one mighty rage for a mighty liberation, because it's so rare. Or sacrificing a mighty rage for like a mighty conquest, because again, it's also more rare. And you can see the rarity of items in the selectors, right? The CTP selector used to not have conquest, and then now the new one, the other ones that have conquest but don't have liberation. So you kind of see the steps of rarity there. And then for the brilliant CTP, conversion, again, I would say it really depends on what you have, but Transcendence Patience are the first options for sure. If you don't have Transcendence Patience, then I would say Destruction and Regen. If you don't have Destruction and Regen, then I would say, Authority is an option there. Energy is an option. The Egg is an option. But with Brilliance, there's a lot more value in Brilliance than in regular CTPs or Mighties. So, the Brilliant Egg is really good for Carnage in PvP. It's really good for Madeline in PvP. So these CTPs have some value beyond Transcendence, Patience, Regen. And then even Destruction has some value for PvE. So you got to be really careful with the Brilliance. Again, it's really up to you what you want to do. You're going to, experience a huge jump in power if you go from like a Brilliant Energy to a Brilliant Rage for specific content. But you just want to make sure that it fits the route you're trying to go. And again, I can't give individualized help, but just to give you guys like a couple of examples off the top of my head, like someone messaged me, hey, like I have a Brilliant Destruction on Doctor Strange. Should I convert it into a Brilliant Rage for Doctor Strange? Yeah, you absolutely should do that. Yeah, that's going to be a massive, massive upgrade. Like it's going to be night and day because Doctor Strange is not really proc friendly, but it's got to be specific to the character, but you also have to know the character. Or another example is like, hey, I have a Brilliant Judgment on Ghost Rider. Should I sacrifice that? Should I convert that into a Brilliant Rage for Ghost Rider? Probably not. Yeah, probably not. You're not really going to see a big upgrade going from a Brilliant Judgment to a Brilliant Rage. You might even see a downgrade. And in the meantime, you also are going to have to sacrifice 2 CTPs because you have to get a CTP token, right? So you're actually burning 2 extra CTPs to maybe not even get an upgrade on your Ghost Rider. That's not really worth it. So you got to be really careful with this. And again, I would say, if you really don't know what to do, if you're really, really stuck, especially when it comes to the Brilliance, because this is a big decision, I would say contact somebody, leave a message on the video, leave a message on Twitter or on Discord, in the new meta Discord, whatever, or any other Discord server that you're on, and ask somebody who you trust is knowledgeable and sort of who knows the game to maybe give you a second opinion on what you want to do. As far as for me, I'm going to go ahead and do mine now just to get them out of the way. I have to sacrifice 4 of these regular CTPs, so I'm going to sacrifice 2 Transcendences here to get a token. Oh, my inventory's full. Okay, that's because I was doing dispatch farming. So we're going to go ahead and convert all of these ISO that are 4 and higher, and now we're good. Okay, so can I do both of them right now? Cannot select any more. Okay. So I'm going to convert that. I get my token. Very nice. And I'm going to do this one more time. I'm going to use a Patience and a Regen. And we're going to go ahead and convert it into a token. Boom. So now we have the 2 tokens. I believe the tokens just go into your inventory. Yeah, they're right there. Okay. And it tells you that you can keep adding, but you can't craft any more tokens. Okay. For the Mighty, I'm going to sacrifice my Mighty Transcendence. This is probably... you could make an argument, because I only have 1 Mighty Transcendence, but I have a bunch of Mighty Regens and Authorities. You could make the argument that I should go for something that I have more of, but I really have no use for the Mighty Transcendence. It's pretty bad. So, yeah. And you can make arguments like, oh, it might get reworked or something like that. I doubt it. I doubt it, Orange. I doubt it. And then for the Brilliant token, I'm again going to sacrifice my Brilliant Transcendence. It was a fun meme. It was funny at the time. But I'm really glad that I can get a better CTP out of this, because this is huge. This is absolutely huge. So big ups to the devs for doing this. I pulled this one from like a random CTP box, I think from like a loyalty event for spending like over $1,000 during like last Black Friday or something. and I was so disappointed. I was like, man, I could have used anything. I could have used like a judgment, an energy, whatever, but this was like completely useless. I did manage to make one meme video out of it, but now it will actually serve me a purpose. So I'm very, very excited for that. And then for the CTP selector, so we can only craft one of these anyways, but I'm going to start with the Brilliant. We're going to craft the Brilliant selector. There we go. We got it. We're going to craft the Mighty selector. There we go. We got it. And we're going to craft the regular selector. Now, this is going to seem really boring. I apologize in advance for what I'm about to do, but I think I'm going to choose the same CTP 3 times. And if you don't know which CTP that is, you may end up being surprised by my decisions, but I think I'm just going to choose a Liberation. This CTP is really good for PvP as a support. And basically my decision was either a Liberation or a Rage. Those were basically my 2 options, but I do feel like the Liberation has a little bit more value, at least to get my hands on 1 or 2 more of them. Give me a bit more flexibility for that new PvP game mode that I actually am enjoying, although I do get unreasonably upset when I lose. But yeah, because I have enough conquests. I have like 7 or 8 conquests. I have like 6 rages. I have a few greeds. But I think this will be my 4th or my 5th Brilliant Liberation, and I think at this point I'll be done. So I'm pretty happy with that. Let me go ahead and select that. Let me see what the roll is. Oh, it's a very good roll. So that's a really good PvP roll. I really hope whatever CTP you guys choose that you get a good roll on it, because re-rolling Brilliant CTPs is quite painful. Yeah, you have to use a CTP every time you re-roll a Brilliant. You don't have to use a Brilliant CTP, but you have to use a regular CTP to re-roll a Brilliant. For the Mighty, you guessed it, I'm gonna choose Liberation again. I know how this looks, guys, but it makes sense. Trust me. Oh, we get a PvP roll again. Nice, not bad. I'm gonna have to re-roll that one. And then for the regular CTP, guess what, guys? I'm going to choose Liberation. And the reason why is just they're so damn rare. And I'm sure I'm not the only whale who's choosing Liberation, Liberation, Liberation. So, yeah. And then I can just show you guys real quick here. If you want to re-roll a Brilliant, which I don't have to. But in this case, if I wanted to re-roll this Judgment, which unfortunately I actually do, I don't want to auto-roll it, though. You do have to use a CTP. So when you go to re-roll a Brilliant, just keep this in mind, guys. If if you craft one and it's not good, you can only use CTPs. You cannot use obelisks or anything like that. So you would have to go here, and you'd have to go here, and you'd have to re-roll it like this. And I'm gonna just do 1 roll here just for fun. Hopefully we get the right roll. Nice, we get type amplification. Oh, okay, it's only 200. Okay, I may have to re-roll that again. I wanted the type amplification, but I wanted the 240 proc. So I think I'm going to have to re-roll this again. But I'll consult with people who are smarter than me, who know CTPs better. Anyways, guys, good luck with the event. Go farm Dispatch, guys. Don't sleep on Dispatch. I've been glazing Dispatch for years now. It's such a good game mode. It's there for a reason, guys. Farm the crap out of this. Go grip your rewards. Hey, nice. And hopefully my advice has been helpful. Again, if you need more advice or if you need more customized support. Oh. Yeah, I'm going to buy that. If you need more customized support, hit us up on Discord. Discord.gg/thenewmeta. Anyways, thank you so much for watching the video. Smash the like button if you enjoy the content. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.